Okay, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well, and wanted to go ahead and chime in with a video on this one because it's pretty big news just as far as NFL stuff goes. I think we all understand that. And let's face it, there is certainly going to be some impact on the Seattle Seahawks here, even if the impact is just with our perception of things rather than things actually changing. So, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the Jalen Carter contract that got announced earlier today. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So Jalen Carter got his extension. We're seeing more and more guys on that 2023 draft class start to get their extensions, and Jalen Carter is the latest. And the reason why I'm making this video for the most part is because not only did Jalen Carter get his extension, not only did Jalen Carter set a new benchmark for interior defensive linemen getting paid, but he kind of wrecked the market. Like, this is not just a tiny little step up from where the market was. This is kind of a shattering of the ceiling. And I don't want to expound on it too much here. It's not like it's not like he broke the mark by $10 million a year or anything like that, but this is not just a little bump up. This is a significant one over any other interior defensive lineman that has ever been, and could probably hold this for at least another year. I have to believe. I don't think anybody else is going to be topping this for another year or so. So let's take a look here. Jalen Carter extension, and remember, he had the 2 years left on his deal from the rookie contract. So understand that the numbers are not necessarily as bad as they look. 4 years, 152 million, worth up to 160 million. So that's 38 million a year, up to 40 million a year. Over 100 million of it is guaranteed. So however you want to cut it up, he is the highest paid defensive tackle in NFL history, and he is very close to the highest paid defensive lineman, period. Like, you could throw edge rushers in there, and there are only a couple that have gotten more than this. Jonathan Jones breaks down the details of the contract when you include the rookie money, the rookie contract money. The cash over 6 years is 183 million approximately, so it's a lot. And like I said earlier, it redefines the market pretty substantially. So what I mean by that is this isn't just a tiny little increase over the previous record. If we go to Spotrac and sort by interior defensive linemen and ignore Myles Garrett for a second, I don't know why he's here, but he's obviously a edge rusher. I know that he's not a pure edge necessarily, but he doesn't belong on this list. I think we all know that. Jalen Carter comes in at, for the moment, 38 million a year. The previous record holder was Jeffrey Simmons, who was extended earlier this offseason at about 35 and a quarter. So kind of like how JSN redefined the receiver market by a pretty large amount, Jalen Carter has redefined the interior defensive line market by a pretty good amount. And remember, Jeffrey Simmons himself kind of wrecked the market over where Chris Jones was a couple years ago when he got just under 32, which was the gold standard. So over the last couple of months with Simmons and Carter, the defensive line market has been completely redefined. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer, best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today, and remember to always gamble responsibly. So again, I want to stress one of the reasons why Carter gets so much more than Simmons is because Carter still has the 2 years left on his rookie deal that are going to pull down the average annual earnings over the next 6 seasons on this deal. But regardless, it's still a significant step up. And when you put that in tandem with the fact that Simmons himself was a pretty monster step up from where we were before with Chris Jones, I mean, that's a completely different market now than it was 2 months ago. And there is going to be an impact on the Seahawks, and I think that impact is fairly obvious. I think we can all see it coming, especially at this point. But let's talk about the various angles here, because there's definitely more than one. And I mean, on some level, Jalen Carter will always be the guy that we could have taken instead of Devin Witherspoon, so there's that. But the thing is, I think pretty much every Seahawks fan is pretty much down with the way that worked out. I think that I don't know if there are any Seahawks fans left that are still upset that we didn't get Jalen Carter. Even maybe on some basic level they are, but Devin Witherspoon has been so good and so valuable that I don't think anybody's sitting there thinking to themselves, man, I really wish I had a do-over there. I mean, we won the Super Bowl last year. Why would you want a do-over on anything that got you to this point? I know Carter's won a Super Bowl as well, but you get my point. Would you really want to do anything that could disrupt what happened last season? I don't think so. And I don't think this impacts the Witherspoon contract, which we're all still waiting on. As of me recording this video, still nothing. But they play different positions. I don't think that Carter getting paid what he got paid is going to affect Witherspoon. But it definitely affects a couple of other things on some level. First, we've got the Leonard Williams thing, and this is a potential reason why you might have wanted to have gotten the Leonard Williams extension done a couple of months ago. Because a couple of months ago, the top of the market was being defined by Chris Jones at under 32. Now the top of the market is Jaylen Carter at 38. That's a big difference. And remember, Leonard Williams was just voted by GMs, scouts, and coaches in the NFL as the number one interior defensive lineman in football, better than Jalen Carter, better than Chris Jones, better than Jeffrey Simmons. Is he actually better than those guys? Maybe not, but that's what the people who should know better than anybody think. They could be wrong. I'm not saying that they're definitely right, but that's what they believe. So now, if you're Leonard Williams, you are looking at things a little bit differently, I would think. Now, I will say this, Leonard Williams is in a very different situation than certainly Jalen Carter, but even Jeffrey Simmons and Dexter Lawrence, like it's not the same thing. I think we all understand that on some level. Leonard Williams is a player that's been in the league for over a decade. He is 32 years old, and he has already made about $160 million in the NFL. So, let's start there. He's not going to be in the same lane as a guy like a Jalen Carter or even a Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons was getting his third contract. Jalen Carter is getting his second contract. Leonard Williams is working on his fourth, right? Because he's been in the league for a while. So it's not the same thing. He's at his peak starting to come down. Jalen Carter is on the upswing. Jeffrey Simmons is in his prime and should be in his prime for the next couple of years. Leonard Williams is probably just exiting his prime. So he's not going to ask, or he can't reasonably expect to get what guys like Carter or Simmons got. It's not the same thing. Even if he is, as of this moment, a better player than them, which is at least arguable. I don't know if it's true or not. But even if he is, it's not the same thing. And again, priorities are different, right? Jalen Carter's trying to get every dollar he can because he hasn't made big money in the NFL yet. But Leonard Williams has made his big money. So it's not going to be like Leonard Williams is not going to reset the market, I don't think. But maybe before he would have been looking for like 28 million a year on an extension, and now he's going to get like 30 million a year on an extension. because the rising tide raises all buoys, right? So is it possible that now, because we waited until after Carter and Simmons signed, Williams gets 2 to 3 million more a year because the market has moved so much? I think that's possible. And maybe it's not that big of a deal. We can afford it. Leonard Williams is worth it. And also, maybe this is all moot because we're not going to extend him because we have a plan to let him retire at the end of the season. And he's already kind of announced his intention to retire at the end of the year. Who knows? But it does feel like if we do extend him, the market has shifted. The other big impact, the other big one, and this is the bigger one, would be Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy, he definitely noticed the contract that Jalen Carter just got. And Byron Murphy is going to be kind of like the Jalen Carter of next year, because next year, Murphy's up for an extension, just like Carter is for this year. And they're going to be thought of somewhat similarly, I think. Murphy's numbers are overall probably better. I know Jalen Carter has a better reputation. I know he's thought of as better, but I don't really think he's better. Jalen Carter, yeah, and I don't watch every Eagles game, but it is my understanding that they do try to protect him on rundowns. They do actually try to work to make sure he doesn't become a liability on rundowns, and that's definitely not what we do with Byron Murphy. And Byron Murphy's getting into the backfield and getting a good amount of pressure with that, even though he's playing out of position. So Byron Murphy, we're definitely going to be having a conversation about him next offseason. We might even pay him early, but there's not much getting around this. Like, we're going up here. 38 million a year for Byron Murphy may not even be the floor. That could be below the floor. The floor could easily be 40 million. If he has a good year this year and the cap continues to go up, which I'm sure that it will, there's no reason to believe otherwise. This Jalen Carter contract is going to be maybe the first contract the Seahawks offer Byron Murphy, and then they're going to talk their way up to like 160, 164. It's, I don't necessarily think it's going to completely redefine the market the way that Carter just did and the way that Simmons just did, but I do believe that where you ultimately land on this with Byron Murphy now is a 4-year, $160 million contract with maybe some incentives to push up to around 170. And then you have a redefined market at 40 million a year. And look, we're going to have the last 2 years of his rookie deal to kind of defray that cost a little bit. It's going to be perfectly reasonable. I'm not going to be, I think we're going to be perfectly fine with it, but it's still a lot of money. And that is the impact of this. And look, there's nothing we could have done, right? We can't extend Byron Murphy right now. It's literally not allowed. He's only been in the league 2 years. We have to wait another year to extend him. But when that time comes around, whether or not it's our fault, whether or not we did anything wrong, that money is going to come in and it's going to be biblical. 4 years, 160 kind of feels like preordained almost. And what if he plays even better this year? What if he has double-digit sacks the way that he talked about wanting to get to in 2026? If he has 10 sacks and continues to be an elite nose tackle, you could go up to 43, 44, 45 million a year. You could completely redefine the market because he's probably not the only defensive lineman that's going to get paid big, although he's probably the only one that'll get paid as big as he will. So we live in a different world now, people. Just a couple months ago, the market for defensive tackles was one thing. Now it's a pretty radically different thing. I'm hoping we don't end up paying for it with the Leonard Williams thing because theoretically, although I understand this is not how we typically operate, we could have extended Big Cat by now. And I hope that we don't pay for that decision to not. But the big one, this is coming, people. The Byron Murphy thing, ain't no stopping it. All right. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. The big contracts are coming, people, but you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. I'd rather have elite players that are worthy of the monster money than not have those players. All right. See ya.